and welcome to an all-new Geek World Order video. Randy here, and today we are continuing our journey through X-Men 97. First season, we're up to episode 7 here. The episode is called Bright Eyes. Let's get into it. So before we have the intro credit, Rogue is the one that does the previously on X-Men. So implying this is going to be a fairly Rogue-heavy episode, and there are a number of scenes involving Rogue, so it's fitting. So we open up to a very somber scene. It is Gambit's funeral. The X-Men are there. Beast, Morph, Wolverine. They're the pallbearers. Jubilee and Roberto are in the background. Gambit's brother, his former ex-fiancée, Belladonna, and a couple of other members of the Thieves Guild are there. So Nightcrawler, he's with the X-Men now. He is the one, of course, as a preacher, he's the one presiding over the service, and it's a very lovely service. Kind of mentions some of the card puns and Gambit's attitude towards, the luck of the cards. And, of course, eventually really surmising that even though Gambit had a checkered past, a lot of sin in his past, Gambit ended up being a hero. And it was a very touching service. But notably absent from the funeral is Rogue. And even Jubilee calls it out, and once again, Wolverine kind of has to be the voice of reason. I know this is a weird thing, Wolverine the voice of reason. But it doesn't take us that long to find where Rogue is. She has gone full Kill Bill mode. She is on a mission to find Gyrick and Trask. Oh boy. And she finds this military installation where she believes he might be, where one of them might be. And she takes out, Walker tanks. And she does this aerial, drop kick thing. It's very reminiscent of her drop kick entrance from, Marvel vs. Capcom, SNK, games like that. And then we get a cameo here from Thunderbolt Ross. So, kind of in the Hulk universe, that's one of the primary antagonists of the Hulk. And basically, he even says, hey, this base is supposed to be strong enough to stop the Hulk. Yeah, no, Rogue, right through the walls. Has Ross pinned up against the wall, and he's like, yeah. So yeah, fun. So yeah, she's continuing on her mission there. We cut to the war room where Cyclops is talking to President Kelly. So one of our very pro-mutant characters in the series here. But even he's a little hesitant to offer help right now. Just kind of the way things would appear, it looks like President Kelly's in an election year. He's trying to play both sides of it. Basically he's trying to keep enough public support that he gets reelected so that somebody who's less enthusiastic towards mutants stays out of office. So unfortunately, he can't really give Cyclops and the X-Men a lot of help here. And he kind of says the wrong thing about it being very unfortunate optics to Cyclops. Yeah, that conversation does not go well at that point. And Jean comes in and he is notably irked. They kind of have a moment together, and, Scott reminds him they've got to be strong. So they've got their plans. So the team loads up in the Blackbird and they head over to Genosha. Beast gives a nice quote from Mr. Rogers about the mutants coming together. Although I'm really wondering, is it a quote from the guy from PBS or from Steve Rogers? He just said Mr. Rogers. So, that's not a subject I'm very versed on, so I don't know if it's like Fred Rogers or a Steve Rogers quote. So if you know, let me know in the comments. That'll be gladly corrected either way. We see a number of mutants. There's a lot of still triage. They're finding survivors, helping casualties. But we do see Amelia among the survivors. She's kind of heading up the triage. And we saw her in the 4th season of X-Men in the Asteroid M arc. She was one of Magneto's followers who eventually kind of turned on him and realized Magneto was a little crazy. And her mutant ability, she's able to turn into a vapor. So, get a little bit of a thing from her. We get Trisha Tilby on the scene. And, you know, her and Beast have a moment. And she even kind of waves off the camera. So, yeah, we'll see where that goes. Okay, so we get Rogue. She's flown off to a mountain. She finds this abandoned bunker-looking base thing. But there is also a World War II era motorcycle here. And yes, it is that motorcycle. The motorcycle owned by Steve Rogers, a.k.a. Captain America, who makes his grand appearance. Last time we saw Captain America in the X-Men series was season 5, in the flashback episode where Wolverine worked with him in World War II. So, get the nice little moment. So they're basically on the same mission. They're trying to find Gyrick and Trask. Captain America takes Rogue underground. There's a very technologically advanced bunker, or at least as technologically advanced as we can get for 97. And, you know, basically Captain says, you know, he's on the mission. You know, Trask, Gyrick, they're really strong suspects in the whole Genosha thing. But Cap's hands are a little tied. He can't just go flying off with Rogue. He's got to keep it by the books because, well, he does have intel that Gyrick was moved to a facility in Mexico. And he can't exactly go flying around with the X-Men wearing his, you know, U.S. Captain America. He's got to keep it by the books, keep it covert. So his hands are a little tied. Whew, boy. Yeah, Rogue ain't having none of that. She grabs Captain America's shield and just yeets it across the mountains. Yeah, he's gonna have to go recover that thing. Yeah, she just chucked it like a shot put. So we go back to Genosha. We have the scene where Roberto and Jubilee are kind of talking about it. This is a very serious subject and kind of approaching the whole, you know, do you think war is going to break out? Because, yes, we are on the precipice of a war between mutants and humans. This is a very volatile situation we're in. And Jubilee brings up again that, hey, maybe you should tell your mother that you're a mutant. Have the conversation with her. Ooh, yeah. Because she makes that point. You know, what if he had been on Genosha? What if he'd been involved? You know, do you really want your mother to find out by getting that call that you're dead? So we think he's finally on board with having that conversation with his mother. We go to another part of the island and we kind of learn that the tensions are very much mounting. Mutants are rioting. It's not good. Definitely looking closer to the war. And yeah, kind of... Trish makes a few comments here that makes Hank kind of question her. Because, yeah, she's... At least what we've seen so far, she's been very mutant, pro-mutant. But he did kind of raise the questions about the optics of her reporting from the mansion and as these things are happening. And, yeah. Not the greatest look, and they seem to have an argument there, and they don't seem to part on the best of terms. So we do go... We're down in Mexico. Rogue has found the place where Gyrick is at. He seems to be doing some studies on some insects. But yeah, she barges in, takes care of a few guards. And eventually, she goes to find information from him. And he's like, oh, your friend's psychic probes aren't going to work on me. And she's like, that's fine. Takes her glove off and straight up grabs him by the face. But as we do, we see a green aura appear, and we see some visions. One is of a mysterious man who we actually did see in the Hellfire Gala. Very quick appearance, which most of what I'm seeing here, but it hasn't been revealed, is a mutant called Bastion. So it seems this guy might be a player here. And she also gets a vision of what ends up being Nimrod. Kind of the master mold, offspring, next step genetics, a very, very advanced Sentinel. So we get the green energy, like Sinister's involved. So there's definitely a few things that are playing into here, and I think we're about to get a few different things coming together. So yeah, that kind of rocks her. We go back to Genosha. They're continuing to go through the rubble, and Jean just has this vision of the rats going through the destruction, the chaos. And eventually, she ends up locking onto another telepath. Could it possibly be Madeline, who apparently we have not found at this point, so we don't know if she's alive or dead either. No, it ends up not being Madeline. It ends up being Emma Frost, who, according to Hank, he had not seen her diamond form exhibit itself. She pops out of the one line about being great under pressure, but she's carried away to be cared for. So yes, we do, at least as far as the X-Men cartoon is going, because yes, every time we saw her previously with Hellfire Club, she did not assume her diamond form. So at least as far as the animated X-Men continuity goes, this is the first time we've seen that. And then, yeah, as we're carrying people away and Cyclops is kind of realizing that, okay, that wasn't Madeline. You know, he kind of like reaches under his visor. He's definitely holding back tears. Him and Jean have a moment where she wipes the tear away. It's a nice moment. At that point, Morph summons the X-Men back to the Blackbird because Bolivar Trask is contacting them. And of course, they're very suspicious. Why is he contacting us? And he's like, yeah, no, I didn't mean to be a part of this. And he reveals that, yes, Sinister is involved. He's like, hey, come down to the UN in Maldivar. And he gives it kind of a little cryptic hint, you know, hey, don't forget that the lobby is, you know, the lobby soda machine is never out of diet. So that's probably going to be their hint to, that's how you access the secret stuff. But yeah, we go over to fancy high-rise apartments. And Roberto is kind of getting there. The butler takes his coat. He's kind of psyching himself up. Jubilee's like, you know, hey, just go in there and be like, hey, Mom, I got something to tell you. Like, he's like, yeah, oh, like, Mom, I'm a mutant. And they do a very nice cut take that they're literally standing in front of his mother, who takes the news like a champ. Like, he thought this was going to be the most difficult conversation, but his mother pretty much figured it out, but was kind of giving him his space to tell it on his own terms. And she's kind of like, yeah, we kind of figured it, because, you know, like 4 of our houses have burned down since you turned 16. Do you really want us to believe that Somali pirates burned down the yacht you took out for the weekend? Yeah, so surprisingly, his mother takes it very well. But she's like, hey, just this whole situation with the Genosha and the mutants, it's a very volatile situation. Let's keep this news of yours under wraps for a while. And from a business perspective, yes, it would be very not great news for for it to come out that her son is a mutant in the middle of this very volatile mutant crisis. Okay, I get it. She's kind of she has businesses to run, thinking of the shareholders, and okay, very very volatile situation. She's like, yeah, let's just keep this under wraps for a little bit. So we go back to Mexico, and we see Rogue waking up from getting knocked out from those visions she had, and it's Nightcrawler standing in front of her, and they have a very nice moment. She's talking about the grief she's going through, and Kurt is being very understanding. She's lost two men that she has very deep feelings and cares about. But apparently we also find this out during Dia de los Muertos, as we see others more, other people around mourning their dead, the traditional skull imagery. And Rogue finally just breaks down. She leans into Nightcrawler and just cries into his chest. And it's a very touching moment between brother and sister. But but after that, Jean comes up. Rogue kind of looks up. She sees Jean's there, looks over. The other X-Men are all just like, in their cool 90s poses. I think Wolverine's leaned up against the wall. Morph's like, kind of over him. There is some energy going on between Morph and Wolverine. It's insane. But while Rogue is grieving, she is very much relieved to see this family. The X-Men are a family. She has her adopted brother and those that she chose to be with. So she sees her family. Then we cut back to another area. Gyric's laying on a bed. He's got a mask, so he's probably weakened. And then we see the blonde-haired man walk in. This mysterious figure, yes, the one that we saw very briefly at the Hellfire Gala. This dude straight up comes in and suffocates Gyric to death. He did. Dunzo. Basically, Gyric has served his purpose and this guy's plan, so he doesn't need people talking about him. So the X-Men infiltrate a building with a Horizon Labs logo on it. And we learned that, yes, Trask did clear out the guards like he said. Wolverine could smell it with sleeping gas. And of course, Morph remembers that, oh yeah, I need to go get a diet soda. So he does that, and the door to the secret part of the base opens up. We get this great scene where they're awkwardly riding the elevator. Morph's just like, well, I got the... He's just drinking the soda that he got, because may as well drink it. But yes, they walk through this just lab full of cybernetic technology. It looks like miniature Sentinels. There's a lot of the shades of purple, but it's very, very advanced than what they're used to. We see more of the logo. We see OZT, which we did see earlier in the Captain America scene. Forgot to mention that. So, and then they see that Trask is part of standing on a sign, and he definitely looks like he's about to jump. And he's like, I gave Sinister my DNA for this, and I didn't mean for this to happen. I only created the Sentinels to protect normal people, but now I am become death. So he's definitely taking he's kind of realizing the severity of the situation. And then he jumps. He goes to jump. Rogue grabs him. She's like, talk. He's like, I don't have anything else to say. And, she just, drops him. The X-Men are shocked. It is like, Morph's like, what did you do? Wolverine just like, what we've all wanted to do. But yeah, yeah, because before he jumped, he was like, and he does reveal Sinister's part of it, and even Sinister had access to this technology. He called Trask's designs cute, because yeah, Sinister is like an insane level genius, but if he's working with this guy, seems that he's working for another party though. But yeah, she drops him, and then we don't hear a splat. No, we hear the words terminate mutants. Oh boy, Trask has become, like, Trask is floating up. He's like this weird purplish skin hue, very much looks like a human version of a Sentinel. Identifies himself as a prime Sentinel. And he proceeds to kick the X-Men's collective asses one by one. Morph changes into Quicksilver, tries to get some quick hits in. One good punch to the jaw breaks the Morph. Wolverine, yeah, quickly taken out. Cyclops smashed in the visor. Jean taken out with pure speed, basically. Yeah, this is not going well. Until we see Cable appear, and a grenade lands by Cyclops' head, but it's an electro pulse generator. Basically, Cable took it out with an EM pulse, which, based on the name Bright Eyes, was a very high indicator that Cable was going to show back up in this episode, because that was the name that Rogue referred to him at an earlier appearance. She goes to punch him in that episode and she's like, remember me, Bright Eyes? So yes, Cable is here. Then they do have a moment with Jean and Cyclops, and she kind of goes into his head and sees the eyes, and her and then Scott make the realization that Cable is Nathan Summers. Yeah. Oh boy. And yes, Cable does confirm that Sinister is indeed working with another party. So yeah, things have just taken a whole new level. And yeah, it's about to hit the fan, basically. So we go over to this evil Sinister's lab, and we see some purple screens, and he's talking to this person that we just saw a few minutes ago in the episode kill Henry Gyrick. So we know, so this is who Sinister is working for, this mysterious man who has not been named in the episode yet, but more than likely it's Bastion. And it's a very, and this guy's pretty much berating Sinister. He was like, you and the villains of old have been failing since 92. Which is when the original X-Men animated series started. Yes. So basically, and even he's like, Sinister, like, you were one of us. I've evolved. So yeah, and it seems that he is setting pieces in motion, because he shows Sinister that he has footage obtained from somewhere in the galaxy of Xavier being announced from the previous episode in the Shi'ar Empire. And so basically he said, someone's been basically feeding an elaborate ruse here, and so he's gonna set his own plans into motion. And we get the big reveal that Magneto is still alive. He's got him held up. So he goes to Magneto, puts on the song Purple People Eater, and begins shaving Magneto because he's been trapped a while. He's got some hair growth. And yeah, seems like he's got some plans that are going to involve Magneto. And that's where the episode ends. And so we've got 3 episodes left in the season, and it's going to be the 3-episode arc. You know, tolerance is extinction. 3-parter, so things are going to get absolutely bonkers. And things are escalating, they're building. There was a lot of setup in this episode. But there were still some good moments. You know, we got the chance to kind of let the storyline with Rogue evolve, let her have her grief. But yeah, so she was taken out by the Trask Prime Sentinel. Yeah, basically, he came up, gave her one good sock to the face, and yeah, she was out. So yeah, the X-Men are kind of weakened at this point. Definitely some crazy things going on. And I'm pretty sure it's just going to get crazier as things just start escalating the next few episodes. But that'll do it for this video, guys. That has been X-Men 97, Season 1, Episode 7, Bright Eyes. Things are going to get crazy. So what do you guys think is going to happen? What are your theories? Where do you think we're going? Let me know in the comments below. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. All those things that help the algorithms. And I'll see y'all in the next one.